Girl, what the fuck did you just do? If someone doesn't want to understand you, it doesn't matter how you say it. It doesn't matter if you yell it to the top of your lungs. It doesn't matter if you write it down on a piece of paper and hold it up in their face. It doesn't matter if you put it up on a billboard and pay thousands of dollars so they can see it every time they pull out your apartment complex. It does not matter, because if a person wants to misunderstand you, they will misunderstand you, but you are responsible for self. What's up, ladies, and welcome to Her Clarity Space, the space where we stop pretending like we're confused and we say the real things out loud. I'm your girl, Jess, and my job is simple: to help you find your own clarity. So go ahead and get comfortable, grab your wine, your water, or your tea, because we're about to get into it. All right, ladies, so I just want to start out with a quick life update. I have been going through some emotional changes. I have a situation going on, and it has really been moving me emotionally, and so much so, like, I was experiencing a heightened emotional moment, and during that moment I was working on my business. I was working on my rebranding, figuring out which direction I wanted to go in. And I'm being me. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to work through it. I'm feeling super emotional. I'm going to work through it. I'm not just going to sit here and be sobbing and just, let myself sulk. I'm going to work. But the drawback about that is making logical or business decisions when you are in a heightened emotional state is not the best idea, because the situation I is dealing with, it was a situation where I really felt like I was being misunderstood. Like, I felt like I could say this thing, I could say things a million different ways, and it doesn't matter how I said it, how often I said it, which ways I flipped it, twisted, reversed it, whatever. I just felt like I was always being misunderstood. So I'm sitting here working on my rebranding, let me remind you, and I'm like, you know what? I want to update to something that fits me, like, and that embodies a lot of other women, like other Black women especially. Like, so I was like, I'm going to update I'm sorry, I can't help but laugh now. I was like, you know what? I'm going to change my brand to Misunderstood Black Girl, because I am a misunderstood Black girl. I always feel like I've been a misunderstood Black girl. And I know that there's so many other misunderstood Black girls out there. And I want a space and a platform to represent them and to make sure that they are heard. I gave myself this whole spiel. And when I finally came down off of that emotional high, I was like, girl, what the fuck did you just do? That is literally what I said to myself, because although the statement still stands, I've always felt like a misunderstood Black girl. But the thing about it is, that's not my full identity. That is not how I want to present myself to the world. I don't want anybody to see me or my brand and automatically think that, one, it's an insecurity that I'm wearing and I want everybody to know, hey, I always feel misunderstood, and two, that they can come into the space and misunderstand me on purpose, because that is basically what my brand represents, is saying that no matter what, I'm going to be misunderstood. And also, not only that, I am so much more than that. There is so much more depth to me. I am way more than just a misunderstood Black girl. And which also takes me to the reason why I wanted to rebrand in the first place, because I've gone through a few rebrands in this period of time, and it's because I'm working on finding myself, and I'm working on trying to understand what I want to give to you guys. I want to understand, how can I best serve the community? How can I best serve the listeners? How can I best serve everyone? And I feel like I have to do what I'm called to do. And what I'm called to do is to share my story, speak to you, and pray and hope that my story, my experience, and whatever knowledge I've gathered along the way helps at least one person. That is what I'm here to do. But I also want to make sure that I have a name for what I'm doing that really embodies more than just one piece of what I've experienced. And so, Misunderstood Black Girl out the window, because that was definitely an emotional decision. And if you need proof that I actually did it, go watch the episode before this one, because I was definitely in an emotional state. And I don't think I introduced it as Misunderstood Black Girl, but I definitely ended it. And I'm like, you know what, join the community. Oh, girl, listen, it was short-lived. But prior to me doing that, it was life in the gray. And I was actually in therapy, and my therapist, I talked about this before, my therapist let me know that I have a very black and white thinking. Like, the way I think is very black and white. And she reminded me that majority of life happens in the gray. And I'm like, oh my God, like, it's so true. And I'm just like, I want that to be like, I think that would be a perfect platform, is like, to help people understand that you have to find your gray area. But even that, I felt like it didn't speak to me. It spoke to me in that moment because it represented a space I was in at the time. And now that I know that life majority happens in the gray, it doesn't hit me the same. It doesn't hit me the same. So each one of those names are impactful in different ways, but they were just a representation of me in specific moments of my life. And I don't want what I'm doing to be anything that I can outgrow, because once I lose passion for it, I can no longer serve you to the best of my ability. So I took some time when I got off my emotional high, and I really wanted to figure out what it is, like, what am I representing? And I've always been about self-awareness, accountability. And in order for you to even have all of that, you have to have some kind of clarity. So I'm not a coach. I'm not a therapist. I'm simply here to facilitate a space to help you get better clarity on your life, on your relationships, mainly on your relationships. But a lot of the things that I talk about can be applied in other areas of your life. But my specialty is dealing with people. So a lot of my examples, a lot of my stories will be about people, our relationships with people, because majority of our time is spent dealing with other people. Unless you live out in the woods somewhere, majority when you're going to work, even when you're at home, going to your mailbox, when you're getting service provided, in a relationship, dating, family, whatever it is, you are constantly dealing with people. So I feel like relationships are very, very important. And not just romantic ones, all relationships, even the person that you see at the gas station, that is an encounter with a person. And so that is the area we're going in, and which led me to her clarity space. This is a space for all women to find their clarity, understand what their clarity is. And I'm constantly on my journey for clarity because I'm constantly changing. I'm constantly gaining new experiences. I'm constantly I'm healing from old wounds. I'm constantly probably getting new wounds. So I'm constantly changing. So every day, I'm never going to completely figure out, okay, life. I'm clear on it. I'm clear on how to deal with life. You'll never get to a moment where you are 100% clear about life, because life is forever changing. Life is forever changing. So, with that being said, in a nutshell, this episode is going to be about you being able to self-regulate. You making sure you're not making logical decisions based on your emotions. Based on your emotions. I made a post on social media a few days ago, and I was talking about how a lot of people get into arguments with their significant others, and you end up going very, very low because you're so emotionally heightened. And instead of us self-regulating, prioritizing our emotional state in that moment, we would rather battle it out. And why is that? Because we want to be heard. We don't like being misunderstood. We want to make sure we get our point across. But what happens is when you're in a shouting match, and somewhere in that shouting match, your feelings get hurt, you get triggered. You're not even talking about whatever the situation is anymore. Now it's a battle of who can hurt who the most. And somebody has to have enough emotional intelligence to know when it's time to tap out. And I'm not saying tap out as in saying you know what, you're right and giving up. I'm saying someone has to be the person that says, I'm not in a good headspace for us to finish this conversation. I'm going to take a beat and we can come back to it. Either you can leave or you can take a moment to do some breathing exercises. Maybe you guys can just sit in silence for a minute. Y'all, the power of eye contact. If you and your significant other are having it out, if you can sit there and look at each other and don't say a word, you can communicate a lot of things. Energy. You're exchanging energy and sitting there. Sometimes people can't even tell how much they've hurt you. But if you sit there and you guys look at each other in each other's eyes, you can see the pain. They can see the pain even without you saying a word. So it's very important for you to be able to self-regulate, whether it's in your relationship, whether it's at work. You don't want to have emotional outbursts. It's okay to walk away and come back at a later moment, because you don't want to end up saying something or doing something that you're going to regret. I don't want to take this way left, but I do want to bring up the fact that a lot of domestic crimes occur during a moment of passion. They occur during a moment of passion. And I'm not saying that nobody plans anything. I'm not saying that it's not intentional. I'm not saying that, but a lot of these cases happen during a moment of passion. Something is going on. The emotions are high, and it's never okay for anyone to be violent towards another person. But what I'm saying is, once you get heightened and the other person gets heightened, you may know what your limits are, but you don't know what their limits are. So it's just best to be safe and practice self-regulation. Once you feel like a situation may be going too far, it's better to be safe than sorry. Remove yourself. You don't have to be right. Plus, if you know you're right, it doesn't really matter. Because if a person wants to say that you're wrong, like I said, misunderstood black girl here, hello, misunderstood black girl here. If someone doesn't want to understand you, it doesn't matter how you say it. It doesn't matter if you yell it to the top of your lungs. It doesn't matter if you write it down on a piece of paper and hold it up in their face. It doesn't matter if you put it up on a billboard and pay thousands of dollars so they can see it every time they pull out your apartment complex. It does not matter, because if a person wants to misunderstand you, They will misunderstand you, but you are responsible for self. Because no matter what's going on with the other person, you are responsible for your own actions. And also with business, not only in your relationships, not only at work. If you run a business, you do not want your emotions to get in the way of your bag. You do not want your emotions to get in the way of your bag. We already have enough appointments going on. We can't be canceling nothing because we're in an emotional space. I know you may have a deadline. Sis, take a nap and come back to it in 20 minutes. Yeah, it can wait for 20, 30 minutes until you can decompress and bring it on down. Because you don't want to wake up the next morning and you done did something to your business that you're like, girl, what the fuck did I do? What the fuck did I do? I just did what? You just did what? You know, it reminds me of when your parents, when we were kids, and you know how your parents are upset, and you know if that's a good time for you to go ask them for some money because they just want to get you out their face. So they're gonna say, "Here, take it, get out my face. Here, take it, go on somewhere." You know what I'm saying? It's the same thing. It's the same thing. You're just gonna want to get it out your face. So you're gonna do whatever because you're in a heightened emotional state. Let's talk about self-regulation. I know I mentioned it. Some people may not know what self-regulation is. It's basically being able to regulate your emotions, being able to have control. I don't want to use the same word in the definition. Being able to have control over your emotions. And there are different exercises that you can do. If you have a therapist and you find yourself struggling with self-regulation, I would absolutely suggest you ask them for some suggestions. They can even guide you through dealing with that. I know my therapist had me doing the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 method. It's like basically your senses. Because what was happening with me is when I was talking about something that either was getting me upset in any kind of way, whether it be sad or angry or anything, my anxiety would like heighten like really bad. And then she noticed that me getting anxious, I would start to hold my breath. And so in doing that, it's like now my mind is all over the place. I'm thinking about so many things. So basically, you're not in the moment. You're not in the moment. You're probably thinking about what you want to say, what could have been said. You're all over the place thinking about things from the past, things that could possibly be in the future. And it's basically to bring you back to current time so that you're not rambling. So the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 method. Hopefully I didn't get this wrong, but Google it just in case I did. Basically, it was a practice of your senses. So first you would start out with a few deep breaths to try and start calm yourself down. And then you're going to say out loud 5 things that you can see, 4 things that you can feel, 3 things that you can hear, 2 things that you can smell, and 1 thing that you can taste. And if you're not completely calm after the first round, you can always do it again. And you just keep doing it until you're really like calm, really calm. And there's other methods out there, I'm sure. I'm telling you, Google it, YouTube, there's some guided ones out there, but you just want to figure out what works for you. Even if it's music. Sometimes people can listen to like instrumentals, jazz or something like that to like calm themselves down. But I will also make sure that you have a method that is majority of the time always accessible to you. I mean, me going to the beach is very calming, but how often do I have access to the beach? So I wouldn't want that to be on the top of my list of things to use to self-regulate if I don't always have access to it. Once you've self-regulated, however long it may take, that is when you can go back to making logical decisions. You do not want to make lifelong decisions when you are in an emotional state. And if you're a person that finds yourself always being highly emotional, you probably need to check on that. And I'm not saying that in a negative way. I'm not saying that to be rude. I'm not saying that to call you out. I'm really saying that from a loving space, because then I would be concerned about other things. If you're constantly emotionally heightened, I can only imagine what your body is going through, constantly being and in that space, never really being in a rested state. So I would definitely speak to someone about that. Again, no shade. I understand we all are struggling with something. So if you're a person and you find yourself the smallest things get you worked up, you definitely need to speak to someone about that, because you may have some other things going on. And like I said, you always want to be better safe than sorry. If you go and they say, hey, it's nothing wrong, maybe you're just drinking too much caffeine, or you're not getting enough sleep, or whatever, still, even that is still important, because we want to make sure we're taking care of our bodies. We want to make sure we're taking care of our bodies. And the last thing I want to leave you guys with, don't be ashamed to tell people that you're struggling. I don't care who it is. If you're having a bad day and you don't want to be bothered, say, hey, I'm having a bad day. If you have shit going on at home and you go to work and you know that you're already tipping the iceberg, I will go ahead and let them know as soon as I get to work. Hey, I may be a little quiet today. I'm having a rough day. I'm here if you need me, but, I just need a little time. I just need a little time to myself. And if you have that same issue, that you had a hard day at work, you don't really want to talk about it, you want to go home and tell your spouse, go tell them, you know what, I just want to take a hot bath and the day has been shit and I don't want to talk about it, but I would like some time to myself. Or if they're the problem, hey, we need to work on this, but it's not going to be tonight because I'm just not feeling up to it. I just need some time to myself. And so on and so forth. I mean, you tell anybody, whoever it is, if it's just the person walking down the street that want to say good morning, wave and keep walking. Don't be afraid to let people know that you're struggling. I know how prideful we can be as Black women. I know that we have a lot of stripes on our badges because of all the things that we have been through, all of the things that we have made it through, all of the things that we have survived, and we wear it as a badge of honor. And with us wearing it as a badge of honor, we don't want to be viewed as being weak. We want to be viewed as having strength. And you do have strength. And one of the strongest things is to be self-aware and to know when you're just not having a bad day, and to know when you are struggling, and to be strong enough to stand in that, sit in it, feel it, experience it, and let people know, hey, I'm going through something right now. That is strength. You don't have to tell all your business. You don't have to take the advice of others. It's just getting it off. Sometimes us holding it in to ourselves does more damage than good, because your body is holding all that tension. So just even saying it, I'm having a bad day. Just saying it gets it off of you, puts it out there. Your body's not holding that energy anymore. And like I said, you don't have to go into detail. You don't have to tell all your business. You can feel free to journal about it. Do whatever it is you have to do. Write it on a piece of paper and throw it in the fire if that's what works for you. You have to do what works for you. We have to go on a journey of really finding ourselves. We live in a time with social media. Everybody has an opinion. Everybody knows what the next person should be doing. Everything that other people do isn't always going to work for you. So you have to find your way, what works best for you. I'm going through that right now. There's things that I do that people just don't understand. And I'm not here to make you understand it. I'm living my life the best way that I know how, in the best way that works for me, that helps me sleep well at night and helps me maneuver through my days in a healthy way. And that may not be the best thing for you, but it's the best thing for me. And I want to have this space to help you figure out what's best for you. So even when I'm sharing my experience, it's never from a place of trying to tell you that this is what you should be doing. It's to share with you the steps that I took to get to the point to where I know what's best for me. And I want you to be able to figure out what is best for you. So it has been a pleasure sitting here and talking with you guys today. And if you have made it to this point, you're somebody special. And I really believe that you should be in a space that has been created just for you, where you can talk to like-minded women and we can have all kind of discussions with each other. We could talk about things. We could share things. We may even have meetups. I think that if you've made it this far, that this is the space for you. And before I go, I should have said this in the beginning. I want to take a moment to celebrate the fact that I have made it to 200 subscribers on YouTube. I am so happy. Y'all do not know how much I was like, oh my God, I just want to have more subscribers than videos uploaded. I just want to have more subscribers than videos uploaded, because I've been trying to pump out my content from the shorts to the podcast episodes. I have like 197, I think, but I am just so happy for each and every one of you who have subscribed to the page, who have taken a moment of your time to even listen to me talk, even if it was just for a minute. I appreciate every last one of you. But listen, if you've made it this far and you are not subscribed to the page, girl, what are you doing? I'm gonna need for you to go ahead and take your finger and slide it on down and hit that subscribe button right now, because you don't want to miss out on what's coming next. And until next time, steer clear of the negative energy and make sure you give yourself some grace.